Well guys, if you haven't already noticed, the stock market continues to weaken and weaken and weaken, and I believe NASDAQ down another 361 points here today. Tech stocks are selling off heavily, okay? Down another 2.7% here today. NASDAQ has now fallen well over 1,000 points from the high it reached just a few weeks ago. In this video, I want to talk about 10 stocks I'm going to be buying heavily as the stock market continues to downtrend. And look at the trajectory of the stock market today. Look at the movement. It follows almost a very similar pattern as yesterday and a lot of these days, okay? When I went to bed last night, futures were looking great. NASDAQ was up big. And then the NASDAQ opens pretty decently and it falls rapidly right from the go. Then it bounces back and then it just falls and falls and falls, and it finishes pretty much at the lows of the day. And this is happening almost day after day right now. Look at this chart, okay? This shows you just a few weeks ago, the NASDAQ was well over 14,000, and now we're in the 12,900 range. So over 1,000 points lost on the NASDAQ, literally in just a snap of fingers. And that's how fast the market can turn from like, it's grand and everything's euphoric, to all of a sudden it's like, whoa, what the heck is going on here? A ton of stock. Because keep in mind, when the NASDAQ goes down that much, that fast, that means a lot of stocks just dropped 10, 15, 20, some 30, 40%, okay? Look at this one, CCIV. This is the one, Lucid Air, okay? Look at this one just in the past few weeks. It dropped from like $55, $60 or so, all the way to $24 a share here today. In literally a matter of a snap of fingers, okay? And down another almost 13%. Here today for the CCIV stock. My goodness, okay? Look at Rocket Mortgage, Rocket Companies, whatever you want to call them, RKT, okay? This stock had a great day yesterday. It was up huge. Here today, it falls 32+%, okay? We're not talking, these aren't small moves like, oh, it only fell like 1 or 2%. You know, this is nothing. I mean, we're talking about 13% fall and a 33%, 32% fall. Look at Palantir, PLTR. Now, Palantir, I am putting some research work into this stock right now. I'm continuing to do study work on this company. Not the easiest one in the world to understand in terms of what is their true TAM opportunity there. I'm doing a lot of work on this one, but look at how much this one's fallen recently. From, you know, 35, 36, 37 to $23 in a snap of a fingers in a matter of literally just a few weeks. That's a dramatic fall for Palantir stock. Another one of those stocks that a lot of people are really excited about for the long term, but the valuation got extremely pushed up, and now here we are trading at $23, okay? Tesla, a stock that I own, right? This stock has dropped over $200 billion in market cap in less than 30 days, okay? In less than 30 days. Valuation definitely got pushed way up on Tesla. And, you know, I've been talking about this when I'm like, hey, you know, this could potentially, you know, make a big downward move. A lot of people have kind of brushed that off. I'm like, okay, you know, we'll see. And obviously, you know, it's lost over $200 billion in less than 30 days on that one. NEO stock, this one at its peak was over $100 billion market cap. Here today, it's $64 billion. Look at workhorse stock, okay? Another one of those stocks that was riding high, and it was, you know, all about the hype and things like that, and hope and things like that. And man, when you're riding off hope and hype, it's dangerous cycle, okay? Look at this stock. It was down another 7.5% here today. It's down 60% plus in the past 30 days on that one. And I mean, I could go into stock after stock after stock and show you guys how many of these stocks are down huge, literally just in the past few weeks. It's a gauntlet of them, and especially anything that's really had the hype behind it, okay? And you gotta ask yourself, was today the bottom for the NASDAQ in 2021? Was today at 12.9, whatever it is today the bottom? You know, you just think about that for a moment, okay? Was today actually the bottom? And I say, you know, it's like this mole situation, okay? I got this mole that keeps like making holes underneath my wall, and it's like, okay, was last night the final night he came to our backyard? I mean, it could be. Maybe he just doesn't want to come there anymore. Maybe he died or something like that. But I would say, yeah, he's probably going to come and dig another hole, okay? You know, last night probably wasn't his last night visiting us and digging holes, okay, under the wall. And so just like this fountain continues to downpour, okay, the downtrend in the stock market could continue, and I want to share with you what stocks I'm buying, okay? So I hope you guys enjoy this. As always, never forget to smash it. Let me know you guys enjoy a video like this where I talk about different stocks I'm buying as the market continues to weaken and weaken. If you're looking to apply for my private stock group, that's going to be linked in the description. If you're looking to actually understand valuations, how to look into these companies, things like that, we can definitely help you with that. That's what that program's all about. That's what that group's all about. And be part of, the Discord chat where, we literally have thousands of other investors from all over the world talking about different stocks they're buying, they're looking into, bull theses, things like that. It's just kind of, you get to a higher level, let's put it that way. Alrighty guys, let's get into these 10 stocks. First one up here of the bunch is Facebook. Easy money the next 3 years. I don't care what happens in the NASDAQ. I don't care if the NASDAQ downtrends for the next 3 years. I don't care if the NASDAQ doesn't go anywhere for the next 3 years. I don't care if the NASDAQ goes up for the next 3 years. It doesn't matter. In 3 years from now, Facebook is a much higher stock than it is today. Bottom line with this company, cash loaded to the sky, one of the most profitable business models ever in creation of mankind, and it's going to get a whole lot more profitable. People haven't even seen, if they think they've seen the peak of this company's profitability, as far as ad rates, they're going to continue to climb on Facebook, Instagram, and all the other platforms they own. And with a change like Apple made, in which essentially now you can't get as much data potentially from iOS users, that means advertisers are going to have to spend even more money to get the same results they were getting before, which means even more money spent on Facebook and Instagram, which means essentially the ad rates are going to go up even more substantially. It's funny, Apple's thought they would, damage Facebook in this whole scenario. I actually think the inverse is going to happen where, long term, this is actually going to be a huge benefit to Facebook. And, unfortunately, the ones it really hurts are small businesses. That's honestly the truth there, and that's really unfortunate. But as far as Facebook, they'll continue to thrive because where are you going to spend your money? If you're a small business, you don't have the money to spend on a Super Bowl TV commercial or something like that. It's just unrealistic. Super cheap valuation on this one, forward P of like 22, which is just silly. Oculus business is tearing it up. Their other revenue from Oculus and other products was up 156% last quarter, okay? Oculus is the future of virtual reality and just going to be a massive player there. So that's a stock that I bought some here today and when it was like, around where it's at right now. And yeah, if it continues to go lower, gimme. I'll buy as many shares as possible. I would much rather have my money in that stock than just in a savings account or something like that. Because like I said, regardless of market, that puppy's going up over the next 3 years, okay? Next stock up here, stock number 2 of these 10 stocks is Walgreens Boots Alliance. There's a very similar situation to Facebook. I would say Facebook's my ultra conviction as far as confident, and maybe Walgreens is number 2 as far as risk reward goes. This is another one of those stocks I look at 3 years from now, the stock is much higher than it is today. It's a great turnaround play. They have massive in-store traffic coming over the next couple years because of the Rona basically shots that everybody's going to have to get. Walgreens is going to be one of the biggest givers of those shots out there. It's going to push up in-store traffic to really high levels. We'll start to see some of this play out even as early as this spring, and then you'll really start to see it in the summertime. They're adding more like urgent care / like doctors' offices to the back of their stores. They're going to be retrofitting their stores. You got a brilliant CEO incoming there. Dividend yield of 4% plus. That will be a huge winner for me over the next 2-3 years, 4 years, regardless of whatever happens in the market. That's the type of stocks I want to be in. That's the type of stocks I want to be in. The type of stocks that regardless of whatever happens in the market, they're going up because they're beast companies and the valuations are extremely cheap. Some of these other stocks that people have been buying over the last few months where their valuations were pushed up to the sky, man, that's dangerous. When you're buying Walgreens at a 10, 12 forward P and it's a huge turnaround play that's going on, and you got so many bullish things for the short term and the long term for this company, that's where things get really exciting. So I'll gladly continue to buy that if the stock market continues to crash. Rocket companies, RKT. So this stock obviously fell huge today, 32%. This is a stock I'm keeping an eye on, okay? I think they have some negative things working against them in the short term, okay? I feel like refinancing will definitely slow down as this year goes on. Mortgages will slow down as this year goes on, and that's going to lead to a lot of fears around Rocket, its valuation, and things like that. And I think ultimately in the short term, I think the stock could definitely weaken more and more. And so if it does, and I still have a little more research to do in in this company. If it continues to weaken and there continues to be kind of a negative cycle around all refinancing worries, mortgage worries, things like that, this could very well be a stock I end up picking up and adding to my portfolio for the long term. It is a very interesting company. They're on to some very big things. And I got to say, from all the research I've done so far, which once again I have to do more, I'm really liking this one. So this is one that, yeah, if it continues to weaken, the whole NASDAQ continues to drop, this is definitely a stock I could potentially add. Palantir, ticker symbol PLTR, is another one. I think the valuation is going to continue to come down in the short term, meaning over the next few months. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, okay? But I've started to do some real research work in this one in the last couple of weeks, and I'm starting to like what I see. Do I like the valuation it's at based upon where this company's at today? Things like that? Absolutely not. Do I think this one is just going to skyrocket to the sky in the short term? Probably not. If anything, I think it will continue to weaken in the short term. If it continues to weaken, and I look more into this one and I really like it, this is definitely a stock I could add. Data related company, they're on some very big stuff. I like the CEO there, and so that's one that I could potentially add down the road. A lot of these stocks, it comes down to valuation, and hey, if we're in this downdraft of the market and next thing you know Palantir is trading at $19, $18, $17, ooh, okay, then we're talking. Then the risk reward starts getting into my advantage. When the valuation was pushing up against, it was pushing up 60, 80 billion or so. It's like, I think it might have even been further than that at one point. It's like, okay, risk reward not that attractive, but man, at 30 billion? Okay, now you got me, okay? Now it's much more interesting, okay? Speaking about a similar story, CCIV. Okay, so here's the thing with CCIV. A lot of people use Yahoo Finance and some of these other ones for looking at market cap, okay? It's not correct for this stock. The true market capitalization for CCIV right now is somewhere between 30 and 40 billion dollars. When I first looked into the stock recently, I was looking and I was like, oh man, the market cap's under 10 billion. I was like, oh, this is actually pretty cheap. Man, maybe this is an interesting stock. And then I really looked into it and how many shares are out there, and I realized, oh, Yahoo Finances and a lot of these other, websites, their market cap they're showing is not the correct one. Really, it's like 30 to 40 billion range right now for this company. Now, keep in mind, when I was buying Tesla stock a few years ago, the market capitalization was 30 to 40 billion. Tesla at that time had Elon Musk there, the best man ever when it comes to raising money. They had a massive amount of cars already out there. Model 3 was already released and scaling, okay? And they had multiple factories, and this company had already proven a lot when it comes to self-driving vehicles. This was just a couple years ago, okay, and that was a 30 to 40 billion market cap. So I look at CCIV and I'm like, okay, they don't even really have cars in the market yet. They're hoping to get to production, but they don't even have it yet. So this is another one of those that I'm looking in the short term. I'm like, yeah, this valuation could definitely continue to drop. If the valuation continues to drop, and keep in mind, they're gonna have to raise more money and dilute shareholder value definitely in future years, because basically this is company projections. They're gonna need to raise at least, I believe it's $5 billion or more over the next few years. So we'll have to definitely dilute shareholder value, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I could potentially buy this stock even with knowing that. But do I want to buy it at 40 billion, 50 billion, 60 billion? Heck, recently I think it was trading as much as like $80 billion. No, I'm not quite willing to take that risk. But hey, if this one drops and next thing you know it's trading at a $20 billion valuation, 15 billion, and let's say I go see the factory and I'm like, oh, this factory is pretty interesting. Let's say, they're starting to produce some cars and things like that. Then we start to talk, okay? But yeah, I mean, some of these valuations have gotten rich, but that's definitely a stock I could potentially add, okay? Stock number 6 of 10 is Switch stock, ticker symbol SWCH, okay? So this one fell a lot recently because of the NASDAQ falling, but also on top of that, there was a couple customers that moved some of their data center related products to the cloud, and that has definitely freaked out the market. So this is one I'm definitely watching, and I'll be picking up shares if it continues to drop, because there's just a lot of fear around that one. What if everybody moves all their stuff to the cloud? You can't move all your stuff to the cloud. Essentially, if you're a big company, there's certain things you don't want in the cloud. There are certain things from a regulatory standpoint you can't move to the cloud, especially in the banking sector, finance sector, and things like that. You have to have your own data center, basically products and things like that. So there's a lot of advantages to Switch long term. It's a misunderstood stock in the market, actually much more profitable than what they look like on face value because of their depreciation, and that goes against cost of goods sold. It's a very different way of kind of doing your accounting than a lot of traditional companies, but it's the way they do it. It's the way it's legal and all those sorts of things. But when I look at this stock, I see a stock that has a lot of fear around it right now. And it could continue to weaken. If it continues to weaken, I'll gladly pick up some more shares of that one. Their facilities are massive and they are very costly to try to build out those sorts of facilities to compete against a company like Switch long term. And hey, the world's just getting more and more data. And when you're in a data center business, that's a long-term bullish thing. Things can move around quarter to quarter. You can get some hits on revenue, good or bad. But at the end of the day, is this company going to grow over the next 10 years or so, or shrink? More than likely grow, and probably grow substantially, okay? Next stock up here is this one, GTECH Holdings. Can't really talk about this one a lot because it's such a small market cap. I don't really want to move the stock or anything like that. But man, this is one I'm really, really excited about. High-end player in the Jack Jackson space. Earnings coming, today, actually, if I recall today, I think the earnings are coming. So we'll see what they report. If that one fell a bunch, I would likely add some more shares to that one. I own 333,333 shares, that one right now. So yeah, if it fell a bunch and let's say the company's executing very well and I'm like, oh, this company's doing very well actually, and growing like a beast and making moves that I really like, which they actually just made a move recently I really liked, then that could be a stock I'll buy more of. And maybe eventually I'll get to share more information on that company. Number 8 of 10 stock up here is Cirrus Logic, cruisy doozy, okay? $4.5 billion market cap on this one. They make audio chips, a ton of different audio chips that go into a ton of different companies. Apple's their main customer. They usually get like 80% of their revenue and profits from Apple. Specifically, that is a risk. What if something ever happened bad in their relationship with Apple? They had a big fight and they didn't, do business anymore. It's not the most realistic possibility. However, it always is a possibility and something we have to consider. But at the end of the day, iPhones are selling tremendous. We're in a super cycle for iPhones that's going to last several years as far as a 5G super cycle. Most people don't own a 5G iPhone today. And in 3 years, most people that own an iPhone will own a 5G iPhone. So that's really bullish for cruisy doozy. They have a new chip coming in some sort of product over the next 12 months or so. That's really exciting. They can't talk about the details because basically you can't kind of give details, especially in relation to Apple, around what products coming, what chips are coming in, things like that. But there's something exciting coming with cruisy doozy. So yeah, if that one continues to fall, especially if it was to go under a $4 billion market cap, I will definitely be buying that one heavy. Maybe even if it fell to under a $4 billion market cap, I would probably buy either 1 year out or 2 year out call options in regards to cruisy doozy. Maybe rather than just buying the shares straight up, I would maybe say, okay, I could buy $100,000 worth of cruise stock, but what if I just buy $10,000 or $20,000 worth of call options at maybe, let's say the stock at that time is trading at $70, and maybe I buy something at like a $90 strike or something like that with, potential upside if it goes into $100 plus, because there's definitely a high probability the stock goes to 100 plus over the next year or two, based upon the tremendous amount of success the new iPhone generation should have, as well as new chips coming for this one. And so when I look at all that one, along with the cash balance buildup, potential share buyback, there's definitely a lot of things to be bullish on there with cruisy doozy. So that's definitely one I could, I own a little bit of the stock right now, but I don't own a ton. And if it falls a bunch, I will likely buy a ton of that stock because the numbers are amazing out of that company, and they'll likely continue to be amazing. It's my second favorite semiconductor company in the world. Skyworks Solutions is my favorite. Cruisy doozy is number 2, and the third would probably be Qualcomm, which is a small investment of mine. One, I'm still kicking myself I didn't buy that one heavier enough. When I bought that one, I think I bought it in it was either the summer or the fall or something like that, and it was so dang cheap. And I bought it like a baby, and I should have bought that one so much heavier. I love Qualcomm, but anyways, yeah, cruisy doozy. That's stock number 8 of 10 up there. Stock number 9 of 10 is Corsair Gaming, ticker symbol CRSR. I just bought this stock here today, literally. Okay, I just bought a bunch more shares, and I continue to add shares of this. As long as this stock continues to weaken, I will add shares. $3 billion, anywhere around the $3 billion range, and especially if it falls to twos. If it falls into the $2 billion range, I'm going to be loading the boat on this stock. Okay, so I love this one long term. This is a $2-3 billion company it's been trading at recently, and I think this company has a great probability over the next 5-10 years growing into a $10 billion plus company. No doubt in my mind, they're going to get more and more into, I think, like kind of more software related businesses, subscription business models and things like that in the future. They just had a very interesting acquisition. Right now, they're really really on the hardware side of the business, and my bull thesis is really just about hardware sales being really, really strong for many, many years to go in the future, because gaming is going to continue to grow. In my opinion, the Corsair brand will continue to grow in that space. The products are super high quality. They get super high reviews. People, I've just come across it, like people love their products at the end of the day. And when you have great products and you have a building brand and you know how to maybe use influencers better in the future, this is a company that I can definitely see being a $5 billion, $10 billion plus company in the future. And today it's, $3 billion. And so if it falls to 2, the risk reward is just so dang attractive. Never mind, you have the call option of them getting more into software longer term. And then if they do that successfully, I mean, you're talking about the valuation you can command is so much higher. And on a hardware business, the valuation you can command is only so high, because they're like, oh, it's hardware, you got to sell through all the time. But when you have more subscription business, software business, the valuations you can command for something like a Corsair Gaming are immense, okay? And this is a really cheap stock as it is, forward P in the low 20s. And I mean, if it was to keep falling, the forward P is going to go under 20 for the stock. And so I will gladly pick up this one. Ask yourself, is the gaming market going to be a lot bigger or smaller 5 and 10 years from now than it is today? What about the streaming market? Like, this is where they get their business. Streamers, gamers. I think it's going to be a whole lot bigger in future years than it is today. And so, I'll gladly and continue to buy that stock heavily over future months and, just over the next year in general, as long as it continues to be anywhere in the 20s or 30s, okay? Tattooed Chef, TTCF, is stock 10 of 10 up here. One of my favorite, it is my favorite play on the plant-based movement as far as, nutrition, building a brand there, things like that. I like this stock even more than I like actually Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat's kind of my second favorite. Very Good Food Company is kind of my third. Those are my 3 investments in this space. And I love this stock. So much long-term potential there. Such a great management team. There's so many things to be bullish on for a long-term investor like myself. And a TTCF, I mean, they have a true opportunity to grow this company into a $5, $10, $15 billion company over the next 5, 10 years. As long as they execute, man, the world is theirs. When I look at the branding of these products, when I look at the sell-through, the excitement around this brand that's just really starting, I'm like, oh my gosh, a long-term op in this company is so big, okay? And by the way, TTCF, that was one of the stocks I mentioned in 3 Stocks I'm Buying Now video that came out a few days ago on the channel. So if you didn't get a chance to see that video, definitely check out that. That goes really in depth on a lot of different stocks. There's actually 2 for sure buys. I mentioned that video, and 3 probably buys. And that goes much more in depth on those stocks in like a video like this, where I kind of just cover a bunch of stocks really quickly. So hope you guys enjoyed this. As always, never forget to smash. That helps us out huge in the YouTube channel. It helps get the word out about videos like this. So I hope you guys enjoy this. As always, if you're looking to apply for my private stock group and take your investing to the next level, learn a lot more, you feel like you got lucky in the market and now you're looking to start taking things serious, go ahead and apply down there. That'll probably be the pinned comment, also be linked in the description. Thank you for watching and have a great day.